Okay, so Games Workshop obviously heard all the complaints about there being no news for Warhammer at all, and so they just came out of nowhere and delivered like all the Warhammer news in all the world to satisfy for like the next 10 years, or at least the rest of the year. Warhammer moves pretty fast. Yeah, just a few days ago we had a whole Warhammer day. We've seen new models, even a new edition of a Warhammer game. There's just one thing though. See, in all this crazy hype, there has been some insane Games Workshop news that is really easily missed, and it is actually pretty terrifying. I'm worried that it might in fact be a massive mistake. But to talk about that, we first need to talk about all the crazy news and the brand new reveals that Games Workshop just threw up in our collective laps. It's so weird that this all just showed up. None of it was on the roadmap. What the fuck was the point of those roadmaps? Okay, so let's just get it out of the way. I know we all want to talk about the insane secret Warhammer 40k news, but first I want to stop by Age of Sigmar because it got some extremely cool news that has really genuinely excited me, even in the face of all the disappointment that Age of Sigmar has been delivering onto me in such wanton abundance. So the news we got this week was all focused on Slaves to Darkness. We got to see a brand new model that I'm actually a really big fan of. This is the new Chaos Sorcerer Lord, and he rocks. I really love the aesthetic here. It's not too try-hard, and it incorporates the armor aesthetic of the Slaves to Darkness brand. The head choices here look good, and the posing is understated, but that all works in my opinion. I like this guy. He's maybe a little bit too plain, but I'm not going to complain about that when it comes to Age of Sigmar, because every single time I do, the designers of that game add another skull necklace into the next model. So many details. I don't know where to look. Still, the really wild news here is that Slaves to Darkness are getting a brand new spearhead. Okay, right, not too exciting. That's pretty standard. New battle tome, new spearhead. But actually, this time, it is exciting because they're getting a second spearhead, one that isn't replacing the old one. That means that when the new one comes out, there'll be two spearheads for Slaves to Darkness, and both will be in stores at the same time. And that is actually pretty crazy. It's pretty unprecedented. I don't think Games Workshop have ever had two different bundles available at the same price point for the same army at once in the same rotation. And it rocks! This was exactly what I was hoping they would do for the new Spearhead game mode. More options for each faction. This is great. That entire game is played using Spearhead boxes. They need more Spearhead boxes, more variety. I reviewed Spearhead for my Patreon. There's a link below to check it out. Long story short is, it's a fun game mode, but more variety is extremely welcome. And hopefully this means that prices will not go up for Spearheads going forward, because usually the price rises accompany the new Spearhead, but the old one's still sticking around, so you can't justify it that the price has to go up, Games Workshop. You can't justify it. You can't justify it. They could never really justify it. The price is going up, isn't it? Well, we don't know yet, but maybe. Plus, this new Spearhead is a little bit of a slim pickings for the $145 the Games Workshop ask for these days when it comes to Spearhead boxes. That is a lot of money. That's too much. And there's just not a lot of stuff in here. And also, just as an aside, I can't imagine it performing well on the table. But still, we'll see when the rules are revealed. But this is a great prospect for the Spearhead game mode, because I hope this means that every new Age of Sigmar faction update going forward will come with a second Spearhead box too. That would be pretty cool. Also, there's a new battle tome coming out for Slaves to Darkness, which means, yeah, every single rule and stat for Slaves to Darkness that you can get available for free right now, they're gonna get deleted from the app, from the website, from the internet, from reality. So make an army list for them now while you still can, or just use New Recruit for list building. It's a much better website, much better tool, or, you know, play another game. There's lots of other fantasy games out there that you can use Age of Sigmar models for. And then next up, we've got a bit of an odd one, because Games Workshop made an announcement for Warhammer Underworlds. Yep, that weird kind of side project Age of Sigmar game is getting a new edition. So I have to admit, Warhammer Underworlds is a strange one for me, because I love deck building and I love miniatures, and Warhammer Underworlds has both deck building and miniatures. Yet I've always stayed away from it. For one, because I'm always worried when two crippling addictions come together like that. That's why I try not to take benzos while I'm tipping over cows. It just never ends well. But also, it doesn't look super super enticing as a game. GW are always showing the minis off as the main selling point, but I mean, all their other games do that too. What I want to see with Underworlds are the cards. Are they good? Are they fun? Are they exciting to build a deck around? How does the game function? Or is Underworlds just another Games Workshop game with half-hearted rushed design, really nice miniatures, and a massively inflated price tag? Because it kind of feels like the latter when looking at it from the outside. Still, there's a new edition coming, which is wild from a company perspective, considering how many other new editions of Warhammer games have come out or are coming out this year. Age of Sigmar, Kill Team, now Underworlds. Warcry next year, I guess, which is worryingly not very far away actually, which can only mean one thing. Christmas is very soon, which means, of course, giant bundled boxes of miniatures being shoved in your face by a Santa Claus that only brings a gift to you if you hand him 150 bucks. Sorry, I mean like 250 bucks now? $300? I don't know. Market forces Santa cares not from whence the dollars come, only that they flow. Still, the composition of the next battle forces were revealed this week. For Warhammer 40k, there's a Necron one, a Tau one, well, really, it's just a giant robot one. There's a Knights one, okay, I guess that one's the giant robot one. There's a Sisters of Battleforce, and perhaps the most exciting, I imagine, for most people, there is also a Dark Angels Battleforce 2, and it even comes with a little Lionel Johnson, a Primarch with the most middle management name in existence, who looks like a random fella you'd see at a bus stop, and yet is inexplicably a massive fan favorite. I will never understand the love the Primarchs get in this game. Maybe it's because my mother never loved me, and so I don't even know what love looks like, but still, it's a surprise. That's it though, I'm really happy that Lionel Johnson has come in this box.
Phrasing?
Because there were supply issues with that model when he first released, and he is also really popular, but also really expensive. So it's good that he's available again at a discount if you happen to also want a bunch of Space Marines and spooky Space Marines in cosplay? Yeah, that's probably a bit specific. Still, I think this will probably sell out the fastest. People really love their middle management bus stop man. But in terms of composition, all these battle forces are really weird. There's some strange pickings here. Giant mechs, weird Catan Necron Force, and a Primarch box. I kind of miss when these were more aimed at filling out a collection rather than being a way to just, seems like, sell centerpiece models. Even the Sisters of Battle one here feels super niche, with it including 2 random rhinos and a bunch of the penitent flavored models. In contrast though, the Age of Sigmar battle forces just seem a lot more vanilla to me, and therefore a bit better as a bundle. There's Flesh Eater Courts, Ironjaws, Cities of Sigmar, my favorite, and the faction that is banned from all my videos. Nope, don't like these at all, burn them all in the fiery pits of hell. Fare thee well. As always, these battle forces are the most discounted way to get Warhammer models, but not the cheapest. For that, you'll need a samurai sword. Still, the discounts on these boxes quickly fall away if there's even a single model in here that you don't want, especially in those boxes where actually there's not a lot of models really, with most of the value being made up of the big centerpiece models. And alongside these releases, I often find that people start talking about points as if this is some sort of real value. For example, the Knights box here is 1,000 points or so, and everyone is losing their minds over it, talking about how great a deal it is. But I mean, we need some perspective here. 1,000 Warhammer points here may as well be like 1 million Discourse rubles. There's still just 5, admittedly pretty big, models in this box. Remember that. Still, the Knights one is probably the best, just for girth reasons. Overall, in my opinion, these bundles are all pretty weak, especially when put against the standard non-FOMO all-year-round bundles offered by other wargame companies. Like, if you think that this is a lot of minis, check out a Kings of War army box, which costs almost half the price of this and comes with way more, and is available all year round. Or even Warlord games, or really any army level game tends to offer more plastic for less. And they're even worth 2 million Discourse rubles, huh? That's almost a full game you can get in there. And while I often get tempted by these bundles every year, honestly, none of these particular ones interest me even a little. The only army that I collect from this bunch is Sisters of Battle, and frankly, I already have plenty of rhinos and penitent models, as I imagine most Sisters of Battle players already do too. And all the other boxes are just so specific. They're so specific to certain playstyles. They include such specific models. They insist upon themselves. So, my personal yours can rest easy this year. Well, no, actually I can't, because I recently got kind of sucked into Bushido again, and good god, those miniatures are beautiful, but they are also wildly expensive. The only way I can keep up is if I randomly come across a chest filled with Discourse rubles, and probably more necessarily gold. Yeah, I would need some gold. Still, now that that's all out of the way, we can talk about that insane secret that Games Workshop accidentally let slip. Oh, wait a second. Did I just mention something even vaguely tangentially related to pirates? Oh no. Oh no! Ah! Yahar, avast ye, I'm back again, pillaging the saltiest place on earth. A Discourse Minis Miniatures review. But at least it ain't the wickedest. Oh no, that great honor lies with Port Royal, the richest, most dangerous city on earth. But alas, it now lies in ruins following judgment by the Lord God himself in the form of devastating floods and a ruinous earthquake that sent all the dastardly pirates that live there into quite the tizzy. Oh yahar. And now the legendary Brethren of the Coast, the Jamaican Maroons, Carib Warriors, Spanish Corsairs, and even rogue members of the English Royal Navy have taken to looting and raiding all around them. Though in this pirate's humble experience, the Brits never needed much excuse to rob every bleeding neighbour dry. Yahar! So take to the streets and jungle and do battle with your rivals. It's simple. First ye build a customizable warband and crew made up of masterfully sculpted, hard plastic ne'er-do wells. You paint them the most beautiful colors the seven seas have ever laid eyes on, and then you drench them in the blood of your enemies on the table in exciting games of strategy and dice. Pit your wits and your luck against other players, or take your blade up against an AI force by yourself or with a team of fella captains. And it can all be integrated into a massive campaign system where every decision tells a tale. Late pledges are now live, but like any good pirate, they won't be around forever. So get clicking and get stabbing and check out Port Royal. It's only $79 for the best pirate experience you can get, if you're a landlubber, that is. Now splice the main brace, weigh anchor and hoist the mizzen, and remember, no prey, no pay. And thanks to Firelock Games for sponsoring today's video. Yahar! Oh. Okay, enough of that. Let's talk about little people. No, not the Darby O'Gill kind. Those ones are actually extremely offensive to me and my Irish kin. But the other kind. The ones which, according to Games Workshop, in the far future, are only known for stealing. Okay, maybe we are actually just talking about the Irish. Yes, Hivestorm, the Kill Team starter set, just came out. And that means more bundle boxes. This time with hobbits. Sorry, I mean halflings. Sorry, I mean ratlings versus orcs! Sorry, I mean, orcs was right, yeah. And this comes from the company that goes after people for copyright infringement. So yes, there's new ratlings, they are here. In theory, this should be very exciting for me. I mean, I count myself as one of 7 people who actually own and use ratlings in my Imperial Guard army. What can I say? I love my little Rumpelstiltskings. I guess I've always just had a soft spot for people who are apparently genetically predisposed to stealing ladders. Thanks for that one, Games Workshop. These new sculpts are all in hard plastic, and there is a whole bunch of them in this new Kill Team box. And yes, they are a kill team, not just a little small squad of snipers. And that's probably exciting for some people, but I'm with Dana on this one. Kill team doesn't really interest me right now. So for me, I'm looking at these models from a Warhammer 40k perspective. And I gotta be honest, guys, I don't like what I see. I think the models definitely look crisper for sure than the older sculpts, but overall, I think they've been updated into a new design language that is just all wrong for me. I do not like the direction these models have been taken. They feel a lot more like hobbits now, rather than the kind of, well, rat guy mutant hobbits that they used to look like. There's a new cutesy, we're on a tea break aesthetic to them now that just kind of rubs me the wrong way. In comparison, the old ratlings were mean and nasty, and they looked like they tried to tarmac your drive without permission. These new guys are just, I don't know, they just look like halflings. They feel less original than the previous iteration. There's no real Warhammer 40k spin on these. Plus, I missed the boots. What can I say? Most of the old ones had boots, and it never really made sense to me that any of them wouldn't have boots. I mean, you're on a battlefield filled with barbed wire and mines and the sharp bones of dead allies. Why would you go barefoot? You need shoes. How else will people know when you've died? I mean, do you really want to fight Nurglings barefoot? Calm down, Tarantino. Still, I do like some of the little knickknacks, and the tripwires are pretty neat. Plus, there's a Calacan dog. Huh? I didn't know that Spike Bulldog was still around in the 41st millennium. Overall though, these models are a miss for me. I'll probably be sticking with my old models if I'm allowed to. Oh god, at the very least I'm gonna have to rebase them now though, aren't I? Oh, Games Workshop, please! Actively making the game worse for me every fucking time. I do like the New Yorks though. They're kind of cool. I think the Tesla Trooper design here on this one's pretty neat. These are the new Tank Busters, and I'm glad they're here because the old ones really needed replacing. I hope there's more actual rockets in the kits than they've shown off here though, because like half of these operatives are melee, and I do not want my dedicated anti-tank unit to be melee. Unless I'm playing as World War II Japan, of course. It's frustrating though that Warhammer 40k players are gonna need to buy this box of both orcs and fucking hobbits to get access to any of these models. Unless, of course, you're willing to wait half a year and show some self-restraint, which, you know, if you could do that, you wouldn't be playing Warhammer, would you? So yeah, thumbs down overall. Solid meh for me. But that brings us to, without a doubt, the coolest looking thing revealed during this entire show. And I don't know what it's called. It's just this thing. I guess it's a Serperos? I don't know. I'm just gonna call it Wormtongue because I want to climb into bed with it desperately. There was also a very secret sauce that was teased out during the Warhammer Day show as well. And honestly, it's kinda insane. It was much speculated about, but I'm in awe that Games Workshop are actually going ahead with this, even if it did get lost a little bit during the shuffle of the Warhammer Day show. See, during the show, Games Workshop slipped out this picture. Okay, sorry, right, there's no models here. I kinda clickbaited you a little bit earlier, but hear me out, all right? Because this does not look like much, but in reality, it is massive because it heralds a brand new Warhammer 40k faction of Space Marines. Oh, yes, the one thing Warhammer needs, more Space Marines. Okay, you're not impressed. These ones though are Chaos Space Marines, huh? Bit different, bit more interesting, and they're the Slaanesh dedicated ones, which is mucho more interesting. This entire new faction will be of the bondage-obsessed glam rock aficionados called the Emperor's Children, and they are going to be arriving next year, rounding out the current Chaos roster of Khorne-based assault phase eaters, Tzeentchian, let's be honest, there's more than 1,000 suns, and of course, who could forget the Nurgle Guard. But in my opinion, Emperor's Children and their patron god Slaanesh is the best. Plus, you know, they're all dripped up in the color purple, and I like the color purple, so bonus points there. We don't have any real details of what we're going to see from the Emperor's Children, except to say that the Noise Marines that they tend to make use of were way cooler back when they used to be monstrous mouth-filled speaker people and not just metalhead rockers. Though, sometimes it's okay to have metalhead rockers as a treat because, you know, who doesn't love the Steel Panther of Chaos? Still, though, I said this when Games Workshop released the Votann faction, and I was right, but Warhammer 40k is already bursting at the seams with factions right now, and really the game doesn't need another one. I know everybody's really excited, but it just doesn't. Rather, I'd personally prefer to see the current factions get cleaned up and updated a little. I mean, Orcs still have tons of old ancient models that need updated. Imperial Guard are the same, please just not like the Ratlings though. The Eldar are, well actually the Eldar are looking quite a bit healthier these days, but still, there's a few that could use touch-ups, and Dark Eldar still have they still have missing models. Not to mention that when the Votann actually did release as a faction, they were a massive balance nightmare. Their launch 2 years ago resulted in one of the worst balanced armies in all the history of Warhammer 40k, which is saying something considering that the Matt Ward Grey Knights Codex existed and happened, and I saw it and it was awful. At the very least, I hope the Games Workshop have learned a few lessons from that release and maybe they playtest this new army for maybe more than 3 games, because otherwise this is all going to be a huge mistake once again, and 10th edition is going to really suffer for it. Warhammer 40k is going to struggle. Still, what do you think? Join my Patreon to let me know directly to my face in Discord or in live streams and help me keep this channel running, because ad revenue on YouTube has gotten extremely low, and also I keep getting demonetized by YouTube. Plus, unlike Games Workshop, I don't get to do a price rise every 3 months. But if you do join, you get to see a bonus video every single month from me, and also you receive my heartfelt thanks. Speaking of which, a massive thanks to my patrons, especially CryptoKev, and I'll catch y'all next time. Bye-bye!